Welcome to What If Sleepstorian, a place where your favourite characters come together in timeless tales of mystery and adventure. Heroes, villains, and spectral shadows drift through a world of gaslit streets and moonlit dreams, woven into soothing what-if stories from a forgotten age. Settle back, dim the lights, and close your eyes as we journey through whispered legends and flickering memories. Tonight we begin with something a little sinister, a tale born from silence and shadow. Paris, 1905, is a city that hums with life. Its streets a canvas of light and shadow. The air carries the warm scent of fresh-baked baguettes, mingling with the faint, acrid bite of coal smoke from the chimneys that punctuate the skyline. Can you smell it? That fleeting sweetness of roasted chestnuts sold by a vendor's cart, undercut by the damp musk of the Seine, its waters shimmering like liquid silver under the moon. The cobblestones beneath your feet are smooth from a century of footsteps, yet they catch at your soles, cool and slick with the evening's mist. Listen closely now. The city sings. Carriage wheels clatter. Horses snort in the cool air. And somewhere, an accordion's mournful notes drift from a cafe, curling like smoke into the night. The taste of Paris lingers on the tongue. A sip of bitter coffee from a chipped cup. A stolen bite of flaky pastry. Its buttery warmth a fleeting comfort in a city that dazzles and devours in equal measure. But Paris is no dream. Beyond the grand boulevards, where ladies in silk promenade under gaslight, there are alleys where the poor huddle, their breath misting in the chill, their suppers nothing but watery broth and crusts of yesterday's bread. Flower sellers at La Halle wrap their shawls tighter, their fingers cracked from cold, their voices hoarse from calling out to passers-by who rarely stop. In Montmartre, artists paint by flickering candlelight, their dreams as fragile as the frost on their windows. This is the Paris of Arsène Lupin, a gentleman thief whose name dances on the lips of the elite and haunts the files of the Sûreté. He moves through the city like a melody, his tailored coat brushing against the limestone walls of grand hotels, his smile a key that unlocks hearts and vaults alike. Tonight, Lupin lingers in a shadowed courtyard off the Rue Saint-Honoré, where the gas lamps cast pools of amber light and the air hums with secrets. His gloved fingers trace the edge of a silver cigarette case, its surface cool against his skin, a talisman against the damp that seeps through his coat. Can you feel it? The way the mist clings to your clothes, the faint prickle of anticipation as you wait for someone who may not come. Lupin's eyes, sharp as a hawk's beneath his hat, scan the darkness. He's here to meet a man who defies the world, a man known only as the Invisible Man, Hawley Griffin, a name whispered in the underbelly of Paris where thieves and dreamers trade tales of the impossible. Lupin is a thief, but not for gold alone. He craves the thrill, the dance of outsmarting foes, the rush of stealing what cannot be stolen. Tonight, that prize is a ledger, hidden in the deepest vault of the Banque de France, a book of secrets, names, debts, and sins that could unravel the fortunes of Paris's elite. To take it requires more than cunning. It requires the impossible. And so, Lupin has sought out Griffin, a scholar turned spectre whose serum stripped him of visibility but not of ambition. Whispers of the Invisible Man drift through the city's taverns and gambling dens, a figure who slips through locked doors, who listens unseen, who leaves only fear in his wake. To Lupin, he is the key to a heist that will echo through history, if only they can trust each other. The courtyard is still, save for the soft drip of water from a stone fountain and the distant clink of wine glasses from a nearby bistro. Lupin's breath catches in the cool air, his senses alert. He knows the risk of partnering with a man who cannot be seen, a man whose motives are as invisible as his form. Can you imagine it, dear listener? To stand in a city of light and shadow, waiting for a ghost, knowing your dreams hang on a thread of trust. Lupin's heart beats steady, but his mind spins, weaving plans within plans, contingencies for a partner who may already be plotting betrayal. A sound breaks the silence, a faint rustle, like a curtain stirred by an unseen breeze. Lupin's hand tightens on his cane, though his face remains a mask of charm, his lips curving into a smile that could disarm a king. "Monsieur Griffin," he says, his voice a velvet whisper, soft yet commanding. "You keep me waiting." Is this how you begin a partnership? The air shifts, heavy with presence, and a voice, low, rasping, as if scraped from the edges of a dream, answers from nowhere. "Partnership, Lupin? Don't dress it up. You're a thief, and I'm a ghost. Let's not play with friendship." Lupin's smile widens, though his eyes dart across the courtyard, seeking a ripple, a shadow, anything to pin the voice to. "A ghost with a purpose, I hope, or have I misjudged you?" A dry chuckle, sharp as a winter wind, echoes through the air. "You're bold, I'll give you that. Speak your plan, Lupin, or I vanish, and you'll never find me again." The words are a challenge, and Lupin feels the familiar thrill of the game, the dance of wits that sets his blood alight. He steps forward, his boots clicking softly on the cobblestones, and begins to weave his tale, his voice slow and rhythmic like a lullaby for the reckless. "The Banque de France," he says, "is a fortress of stone and secrets. Its deepest vault holds a ledger, a book that names the debts and sins of Paris's mighty. The vault is guarded by steel doors, locks no pick can touch, and men who watch every shadow. But you, Griffin, you are no shadow. You are nothing. You can slip past their eyes, take the keys, and open the way. I will get us inside the bank. Together, we will steal what no man has dared to claim." The silence that follows is heavy, broken only by the distant hum of the city and the soft patter of rain beginning to fall. Then Griffin's voice returns, closer now, as if he's circling Lupin like a predator. "And what's to stop me from taking it all? Why share with a dandy who thinks he's the cleverest man in Paris?" Lupin's heart quickens, but his smile never falters. "Because, my dear Griffin, you may be invisible, but you're not untouchable. You need my plans, my fences, my world. Betray me, and you'll find Paris has eyes even you can't escape." A pause thick as the mist that swirls through the courtyard. Then a soft scrape, like a boot on a stone, though no boot is seen. "We'll see, Lupin," Griffin says, his voice fading like a sigh. "Midnight, tomorrow. The service entrance on Rue de la Vrillière. Be there." And then, nothing. The air grows still, the presence gone. Lupin stands alone, the rain dampening his coat, and for a moment doubt creeps in, a whisper that this partnership may be his undoing. Can you feel it, dear listener? That flicker of uncertainty, the sense that you've invited a storm into your plans. He shakes it off, adjusting his hat, and steps into the rain, his mind already spinning new threads in the web of his scheme. Paris breathes around him, its lights glittering through the downpour, its secrets carried on the Seine's dark current. But another figure moves through the city, unnoticed in the bustle of the night. Inspector Ganimard, a hound of the Sûreté, stands on a bridge over the Seine, his coat collar turned up against the rain, his eyes scanning the city's glow. He has heard whispers of a grand theft, a scheme that bears the mark of Arsène Lupin, though he knows nothing of the invisible ally. His fingers tighten on the railing, the metal cold and slick, and he feels the weight of the chase, a game he has played before and lost. Can you sense it? The tightening of the hunt, the way the city holds its breath as thief and pursuer begin their dance. What would you do in a world like this, where trust is a gamble and every shadow hides a secret? Close your eyes now, let the rain's soft rhythm lull you, and drift with us as the night deepens, carrying Lupin and his unseen ally toward a heist that may change them both forever. The rain falls gently over Paris, 1905, its soft rhythm weaving a veil across the city, blending with the low hum of life that never quite stills. The cobblestones gleam under the gas lamps, their light splintering into golden flecks on the wet pavement, and the air carries the faint sweetness of linden blossoms, tangled with the damp musk of the scene's breath. The scent is subtle, like a memory of spring, undercut by the sharp bite of coal smoke drifting from a nearby chimney. The streets pulse with sound, the clatter of a distant carriage, the murmur of voices from a bistro tucked around a corner, the steady drip of water from a sagging awning. The rain's cool touch seeps through coats, brushing skin with a chill that lingers, while the taste of Paris hangs on the tongue. A sip of tart wine from a hidden cafe, a trace of bitter coffee stolen from a vendor's cart, a city that feeds both dreams and despair. Arsène Lupin moves through this rain-soaked world, his boots clicking softly on the slick stones of the Rue de la Vrillière, his mind a tapestry of plans woven tight with ambition. The Banque de France looms ahead, its stone facade a silent guardian of secrets, its deepest vault holding a ledger that could unravel the fortunes of Paris's elite, a prize Lupin craves not for gold, but for the thrill of claiming the impossible. His coat is heavy with rain, but his steps are light, each one a flourish in a dance with fate. He approaches a narrow service entrance, its iron gate rusted yet unyielding, and pauses, his gloved hand brushing the silver cigarette case in his pocket, its smooth surface cool against his fingers, a talisman against the night's uncertainties. Lupin is not alone, though the alley feels empty. Hawley Griffin, the invisible man, is near, an unseen presence that prickles the air like a storm-gathering strength. Their meeting in the courtyard last night under this same rain left Lupin with a whisper of doubt. Griffin is no ordinary ally. He's a void, a voice without form, a man whose invisibility is both weapon and wound. Lupin's charm has swayed many, but Griffin is a shadow that resists, a blade that may yet turn against him. Yet the thrill of the game drives Lupin forward, and he speaks into the darkness, his voice a velvet murmur, soft yet edged with purpose. "You're late again, Griffin. Do you always keep your partners waiting?" A ripple in the air, a faint disturbance like a breath brushing the rain, and Griffin's voice answers, low and rasping, as if scraped from the night's edges. "Partners? Don't dress it up, Lupin. You're a thief, and I'm a ghost. Let's see if your plan holds more than promises." Lupin's lips curve into a smile, his eyes scanning the alley for a ripple in the rain, a shadow where none should be. "Promises are for poets," he says, his tone light but threaded with steel. "I deal with plans. Shall we begin?" A dry chuckle, sharp as splintered glass, cuts through the rain. "Begin? You sound like a showman. Open the gate or I'm gone." Lupin steps toward the gate, his movements fluid, deliberate. From his sleeve he draws a slender pick, its metal glinting faintly in the gaslight. The lock is old, its tumblers stiff with rust, but Lupin's hands are steady, his touch as precise as a watchmaker's. The tumblers click, a soft sound lost in the rain's rhythm, and the gate creaks open, revealing a tunnel that descends into darkness. The air within is heavy, laced with the scent of mould and damp stone, a cloying weight that presses against the skin. Lupin steps forward, the darkness wrapping around him like a cloak, and feels a prickle of unease, not for the heist, but for the man he cannot see. "The service tunnel," Lupin says, his voice low as if speaking to the shadows themselves. "It runs beneath the bank, forgotten by all but the rats. It leads to a grate, then a door. Beyond that, the vault. The guards patrol above, but you, Griffin, you can move unseen. The keys hang in the guard room 2 floors up. Take them, and we meet at the vault's door." Griffin's voice is closer now, a hiss at Lupin's ear, sharp enough to send a shiver down his spine. "And the guards? You think they won't notice keys floating off a hook?" "You're bold, Lupin, but not as clever as you think." Lupin's smile holds, though his heart quickens. "That's where I come in," he says, his voice smooth as silk. A distraction, a spark in the courtyard, a cry in the street. The guards will run, and you'll slip through. We need only moments, Griffin. Moments to claim a prize that will echo through Paris. A pause, heavy as the air in the tunnel, then a soft scrape like cloth brushing stone, though no cloth is visible. Moments, Griffin says, his voice cold as the rain. And if your spark fizzles, what then? Then we improvise, Lupin replies, his tone a melody of confidence. Unless you'd rather vanish now and leave the prize to me. The air shifts, a ripple of tension, and Lupin wonders what it must be like to be Griffin, to live unseen, untouched, yet driven by the same hunger as any man. Griffin's silence is answer enough, and Lupin moves deeper into the tunnel, the damp air clinging to his skin, the scent of earth and stone filling his lungs. His steps echo softly, though Griffin's leaves no sound, and the darkness presses close, its weight a reminder of the risks they take. Above, Paris carries on its restless dance. The rain drums on rooftops, blurring the city's lights into a golden haze, and the Seine whispers secrets to the bridges that span its waters. But another figure moves through the storm, his coat heavy with water, his eyes sharp with purpose. Inspector Ganimard stands in a doorway across from the bank, his breath misting in the chill. He has pieced together whispers of Lupin's latest scheme, rumours from Montmartre's taverns, a tip from a pickpocket who owed him a favour. He knows nothing of an invisible man, but he knows Lupin, a thief whose flair for the dramatic is as predictable as it is elusive. Ganimard's hand rests on a notebook, its pages filled with sketches of Lupin's haunts, his habits, his games. Tonight he feels it, a certainty that Lupin is near, plotting something that will shake the city. Ganimard steps into the storm, his boots splashing in the puddles, and follows a hunch toward the Rue de la Vrillière. He does not see the open gate, does not hear the soft click of a lock undone, but he feels the weight of something coming, a theft, a chase, a game that will test his resolve. In the tunnel below, Lupin moves deeper, the walls narrowing, their slick surfaces brushing against his coat. The air grows colder, carrying the faint metallic tang of the rust, and his steps slow as the tunnel curves, its darkness deepening. He speaks softly, his voice a thread in the silence. The grate is ahead, Griffin. Beyond it, the bank's underbelly. Are you still with me? A low chuckle, faint and cold, echoes from the void. For now, Lupin. For now. The words linger, a promise laced with menace, and Lupin feels their weight, a hint of plans unspoken, a shadow of betrayal taking shape. The city above hums with life, its lights flickering through the rain, and the Seine carries its secrets downstream, whispering of trust and treachery in a language only the night understands. Lupin's hand brushes the damp stone, steadying himself, and he moves forward, the tunnel's chill seeping into his bones, the game unfolding with every step. The tunnel beneath the Banque de France stretches deeper, its walls slick with moisture, the air thick with the metallic tang of rust and the musty breath of forgotten earth. The darkness presses close, a heavy shroud that muffles even the soft echo of Arsène Lupin's boots on the stone floor. The scent of damp stone clings to his coat, mingling with the faint sour note of old iron, as if the tunnel itself is exhaling secrets long buried. The silence is broken only by the occasional drip of water, each drop a sharp note in the stillness, and the distant hum of Paris above, its lights and laughter muted by layers of earth and stone. The taste of the city lingers on Lupin's tongue, a trace of bitter coffee from a cafe he passed hours ago, now soured by the tunnel's chill. The walls, cold and uneven, brush against his sleeve, a reminder of the narrow path he treads, both in this tunnel and in the game he plays with an unseen ally. Lupin moves forward, his steps measured, his senses sharp despite the darkness. Hawley Griffin, the invisible man, is beside him, or so he assumes, for no sound betrays his presence. The words from moments ago, "For now, Lupin, for now," echo in Lupin's mind, their menace a shadow that lingers. Griffin is a void, a partner whose invisibility makes every step a gamble, every plan a leap of faith. Lupin's charm, his greatest weapon, feels blunted against a man who cannot be seen, whose motives are as elusive as his form. Yet the thrill of the heist, the ledger, a book of secrets that could topple Paris's elite, drives him onward, a fire in his blood that no darkness can quench. The tunnel curves, narrowing until the walls graze both shoulders, and Lupin's hand finds the iron grate he described earlier, its bars cold and slick under his glove. He pauses, his breath misting faintly in the chill, and speaks softly, his voice a velvet thread in the silence. The grate, Griffin. Beyond it lies the bank's underbelly. The door to the vault is closed now. Have you the keys? A low chuckle, cold and sharp, ripples through the air closer than Lupin expects, as if Griffin is standing at his elbow. Keys? You think I'd carry them jingling like a fool? They're in my pocket, Lupin, or nowhere at all. You'll see when we reach the door. Lupin's smile tightens, though his tone remains smooth, a melody of charm and control. I trust you'll keep your word, my friend. A ghost with empty hands is no use to either of us. Trust? Griffin's voice is a hiss laced with mockery. Save it for your admirers, Lupin. I'm here for the prize, not your pretty words. Move! Lupin's fingers work the grate, his pick slipping into the lock with the precision of a maestro. The mechanism yields with a soft click, and the grate swings open, revealing a wider passage where the air grows heavier, thick with the scent of oiled metal and dust. The bank's underbelly is near, a labyrinth of pipes and stone that guards the vault. Lupin steps through, his boots scuffing faintly on the rough floor, and feels the weight of Griffin's presence or absence behind him. The darkness is a living thing pressing against his skin, and he wonders if Griffin is truly there, or if he's already slipped away, the keys a lie, the ledger his alone to claim. Above, Paris hums through the rain, its lights blurring into a golden haze, the Seine carrying whispers of secrets to the city's edges. The streets are alive with the clatter of carriages, the laughter of late-night revellers, and the soft patter of rain on cobblestones, a rhythm that masks the game unfolding below. Inspector Ganimard moves through this world, his coat heavy with water, his eyes sharp as he nears the Rue de la Vrillière. The tip from a Montmartre pickpocket, a name, a place, a whisper of Lupin's latest scheme, has led him here, to the shadow of the Banque de France. He knows Lupin's flair, his love for the dramatic, and tonight he feels it, a certainty that the thief is close, weaving a plan that could shake the city. Ganimard's hand rests on his notebook, its pages damp but filled with notes on Lupin's habits, his haunts, his games. He does not know of an invisible man, but he senses something larger, a shadow beyond Lupin's usual tricks. Ganimard pauses at the corner, his breath misting in the chill, and scans the alley where the service entrance lies. The gate is ajar, a faint creak in the wind betraying its movement, and his pulse quickens. He steps closer, his boots splashing in the puddles, the scent of wet stone and coal smoke filling his lungs. The city's sounds fade, replaced by the rain's steady drum, and he feels the weight of the chase, a game he has played before and lost, yet one he cannot abandon. Below, Lupin reaches the vault's door, a slab of steel that gleams faintly in the dim light of a lantern he's lit. The air is colder here, sharp with the tang of metal and the faint acrid bite of machine oil. The door is a fortress, its twin locks requiring 2 keys turned at once, a mechanism designed to thwart even the cleverest thief. Lupin's fingers brush the steel, its surface smooth and unyielding, and he turns to the darkness, his voice low but firm. The keys, Griffin. Now. A pause, heavy with tension, and then a soft clink, as if metal has brushed metal. Patience, Lupin, Griffin says, his voice a blade in the dark. You'll get your prize, but don't think I'm here for your glory. Lupin's heart beats faster, though his smile remains, a mask of charm that hides his growing unease. Glory is fleeting, he says, his tone light but edged with warning. The ledger is forever. Hand them over, and we finish this together. A soft rustle, like cloth shifting, and then 2 keys appear, hovering in the air before dropping into Lupin's palm. Their weight is real, cold and solid, but Griffin's silence is heavier still. Lupin inserts the keys, his hand steady despite the doubt gnawing at him. The locks turn, a low grind echoing in the passage, and the door begins to open, revealing the vault's shadowed interior. The air shifts, carrying a faint whiff of leather and ink. The ledger, so close now, a treasure that could remake the world. But as the door swings wider, a sound from above, a shout, sharp and urgent, cuts through the silence. Lupin freezes, his senses alight. The guards, alerted by some misstep or betrayal, are moving. He glances into the darkness where Griffin should be and feels a chill that has nothing to do with the tunnel's cold. "Griffin," he whispers, his voice a blade of its own. "What have you done?" No answer comes, only the faintest rustle, like a breath fading into nothing. Lupin's mind races, his plans unravelling as the shouts grow louder, boots echoing on the stone above. The city's pulse quickens, the rain's rhythm blending with the clamour of pursuit, and Lupin stands at the threshold of the vault, the ledger within reach, yet the shadow of betrayal closer still. Outside, Ganimard moves toward the gate, his hand on his revolver, the rain slicking his face as he peers into the alley. The open gate is a sign, a crack in Lupin's careful facade, and he steps forward, the scent of wet iron and stone filling his lungs. The city hums around him, its lights flickering through the rain, but his focus is singular. Lupin, the thief who has eluded him too long. He does not know what waits below, but he feels the weight of the moment, the game shifting under his feet. In the tunnel, Lupin steps into the vault, the darkness swallowing him, the ledger's promise pulling him forward. The air is thick with the scent of old paper and dust. The faint creak of the door behind him, a warning he cannot ignore. Griffin's absence is a void, a silence that speaks of plans within plans, and Lupin's hand tightens on the keys, his mind already weaving new threads to counter a betrayal he cannot yet name. The city above carries on, its lights a distant glow, the Seine whispering of trust and treachery as the night unfolds, drawing thief and hunter closer to a reckoning. The vault of the Banque de France yawns before Arsène Lupin, its shadows pooling like ink spilled across a page, the air thick with the scent of aged leather and brittle parchment. The darkness clings to his skin, cool and heavy, laced with the faint, musty breath of dust undisturbed for decades. The silence is a weight, broken only by the soft creak of the steel door behind him, its hinges groaning as it settles, and the distant clamour of shouts from above, sharp and urgent, echoing through the stone passages. The taste of the tunnel's chill lingers on Lupin's tongue, a sour, metallic tang, like the memory of old wine gone sharp in the cold. His gloved fingers hover over the keys still clutched in his hand, their edges biting into his palm, a reminder of Hawley Griffin's presence, or its absence, a void that feels like a noose tightening around his plans. Lupin steps deeper into the vault, his boots whispering against the stone floor, his eyes adjusting to the dim glow of his lantern. The light catches rows of wooden cabinets, their surfaces polished but scarred by time, each drawer a silent promise of secrets. The ledger he seeks, a book of names, debts, and sins that could topple Paris's elite, lies within one of these, its weight pulling him forward like a siren's call. But Griffin's silence, his taunting "for now" from the tunnel, gnaws at Lupin's mind, a shadow than the vault's walls. The invisible man is gone, or so it seems, and the shouts above grow louder, boots pounding as guards descend, drawn by some unseen hand. Lupin's heart races, but his wit remains a blade, honed by years of outsmarting foes, and he knows a betrayal is unfolding, though its shape is as elusive as Griffin himself. The air shifts, a faint rustle like a page turning, and Lupin freezes, his senses alight. "Griffin," he murmurs, his voice low and sharp, cutting through the vault's stillness. "If you've played me false, Paris will know your name, not as a ghost, but as a fool." No answer comes, only the echo of his words and a faint mocking laugh, so soft it might be the vault's own breath. Lupin's smile tightens, a mask of charm over a storm of calculation, and he moves to the nearest cabinet, his fingers tracing the lock. The wood is smooth, cool under his glove, but the lock is simple, yielding to his pick with a soft click that feels too loud in the silence. He opens the drawer, revealing stacks of papers, their edges yellowed, the ink faded but legible. His eyes scan the titles, searching for the ledger, but his mind is elsewhere. On Griffin, on the guards, on the game that has played so well until now. The shouts are closer, a chorus of alarm, and Lupin knows his distraction, a spark in the courtyard, has either failed or been turned against him. Griffin's betrayal is no mere suspicion now. It's a certainty, a shadow taking form. The invisible man has slipped away, perhaps with the ledger already, leaving Lupin to face the guards alone. But Lupin is no stranger to traps, and his mind spins, weaving new plans to counter a foe he cannot see. Above, the rain falls harder on Paris, its rhythm a steady drum against the cobblestones, blurring the city's lights into a golden haze. The Seine murmurs, its waters carrying secrets to the bridges that span its banks, and the streets hum with the clatter of late-night carriages and the laughter of revellers, untouched by the drama below. Inspector Ganimard stands at the service entrance, the iron gate ajar, its creak a siren call in the storm. The scent of wet stone and rusted iron fills his lungs, and his hand tightens on his revolver, the metal cold against his palm. The tip from a Montmartre pickpocketer name, a place, a whisper of Lupin's scheme has led him here, and the open gate is a crack in the thief's armour. Ganimard's pulse quickens, but his eyes are steady, scanning the alley for signs of movement, the rain slicking his face as he steps forward. He knows Lupin's flair, his love for the dramatic, but tonight feels different, a game larger than the thief's usual tricks. Ganimard's notebook, damp in his pocket, holds years of notes on Lupin's habits, his haunts, his games. But nothing prepares him for the silence of the tunnel beyond the gate. He steps inside, the darkness swallowing him, the air heavy with mould and earth, and his boots echo softly, a counterpoint to the shouts now ringing through the bank above. The guards are moving, drawn by some alarm, and Ganimard feels the weight of the chase, a chance to finally catch the thief who has eluded him too long. In the vault, Lupin pulls another drawer, his fingers swift but precise, the lock yielding with a soft snap. The papers within are not the ledger, bonds, contracts, nothing of value to his plan. But he moves to the next, his lantern casting long shadows that dance across the walls. The air is thick with the scent of old ink and leather, a library of secrets that tempts him to linger, but the shouts are too close, the boots too loud. He knows Griffin has betrayed him, likely alerting the guards to cover his escape with the ledger, but Lupin's mind is a labyrinth of contingencies, and he will not be caught so easily. A faint clink, like metal brushing stone, breaks the silence, and Lupin turns, his lantern raised. The light catches nothing but shadows, but the air shifts, heavy with presence. "Griffin," he says, his voice a velvet blade, "if you're still here, show yourself. Or have you taken your prize and left me to the wolves?" A low chuckle, cold and sharp, echoes from the darkness, closer than before. "Wolves, Lupin? You're the one who invited them. The ledger's safe for now. But you're running out of time." Lupin's heart leaps, his smile a mask of charm that hides a surge of anger. Griffin is still here, taunting him, the ledger not yet gone. The game is not lost, but the stakes are higher now, the guard's boots echoing like a drumbeat above. Lupin moves to another cabinet, his pick working the lock, his mind racing. He could flee, slip through the tunnel before the guards arrive, but the ledger is too close, the thrill too great. He opens the drawer, and there it is, a leather-bound book, its cover embossed with gold, the weight of Paris's secrets in its pages. His fingers brush the leather, cool and smooth, and he pulls it free, tucking it into his coat. The shouts are at the passage now, lanterns flickering as guards approach. Lupin blows out his own light, plunging the vault into darkness, and moves toward the door, his senses sharp. Griffin's presence is a void, a silence that speaks of treachery, and Lupin knows the invisible man is watching, waiting for his moment to strike. The air is cold, sharp with the tang of steel and fear, and Lupin's steps are silent, his coat brushing the wall as he slips back into the passage. Outside, Ganimard descends the tunnel, his revolver drawn, the damp air clinging to his skin. The shouts from the bank guide him, but his focus is singular. Lupin, the thief who dances just out of reach. He does not know of the ledger, nor of the invisible man, but he feels the weight of something grand, a theft that could shake the city. The tunnel narrows, its walls slick with moisture, and the scent of rust and earth grows stronger, a reminder of the depths he's entered. In the passage, Lupin moves swiftly, the ledger heavy against his chest, his mind spinning new plans. Griffin's betrayal is clear, alerting the guards, perhaps planning to take the ledger in the chaos. But Lupin is not done. He knows Paris, its alleys, its shadows, and he will not let a ghost outwit him. The city above hums with life, the rain a soft lullaby against the cobblestones, the Seine whispering of trust and treachery as the night unfolds. Lupin reaches the grate, his fingers brushing the cold iron, and pauses, listening for Griffin, for the guards, for the city's pulse that guides him still. The iron grate beneath Arsène Lupin's fingers is cold and slick, its bars biting into his gloves as he steadies himself in the shadowed passage beneath the Banque de France. The air is heavy, thick with the scent of rusted metal and damp earth, a cloying weight that presses against his chest, mingling with the faint lingering aroma of leather from the ledger tucked inside his coat. The darkness is a living thing, wrapping around him like a velvet cloak, broken only by the distant flicker of lanterns as guards' shouts echo through the stone corridors above. Their boots a relentless drumbeat in the night. The taste of the vault's dust lingers on Lupin's tongue, gritty and sour, a reminder of the prize he's claimed and the betrayal that threatens to snatch it away. The Seine's murmur reaches him even here, a soft whisper through the city's veins, its waters carrying Paris's secrets as the rain above falls in a steady, soothing rhythm. Lupin's heart beats fast, but his mind is a labyrinth of wit and calculation, weaving new plans to counter Hawley Griffin's treachery. The invisible man's betrayal is clear, alerting the guards, likely planning to seize the ledger in the chaos, but Lupin is no stranger to such games. The ledger, a book of names and sins that could unravel Paris's elite, is heavy against his chest, its weight both a triumph and a burden. Griffin's taunting presence in the vault, his cold chuckle and vanishing act, have left Lupin with a certainty. The invisible man is near, watching, waiting for his moment to strike. The guards' shouts grow closer, their lanterns casting jagged shadows through the passage, and Lupin knows he must move, out of the bank, through the city, and into the shadows where he thrives. He pushes the grate upward, its hinges groaning softly, and slips into a wider tunnel. The air cooler here, laced with the sharp tang of wet stone and the faint acrid bite of coal smoke seeping from the city above. His boots scuff against the rough floor, the sound swallowed by the rain's distant pattern, and he pauses, listening for Griffin, for the guards, for any hint of the game's next move. The ledger presses against his ribs, a secret that could crown him or condemn him, and Lupin's smile curves, a flicker of charm in the darkness. He speaks softly, his voice a velvet blade cutting through the silence. Griffin, you've played your hand poorly. A ghost who betrays his partner is no ghost at all, just a man with nowhere to hide. A rustle, faint as a breath, stirs the air, and Griffin's voice answers low and sharp, closer than Lupin expects. Hide? I don't need to hide, Lupin. You're the one running with a prize you can't keep. Hand over the ledger and I might let you slip away. Lupin's smile widens, though his eyes scan the darkness, seeking a ripple, a disturbance, anything to pin the invisible man's position. Let me slip away, he says, his tone light but laced with steel. You mistake me for a fool, Griffin. This ledger is mine, and Paris is my stage. You've no curtain to draw here. A low chuckle, cold as the tunnel's chill, echoes from the shadows, and Lupin feels a prickle of unease, not for the guards, but for Griffin's next move. The invisible man is a void, a predator whose invisibility makes every word a threat, every silence a trap. Lupin moves forward, his steps silent now, his coat brushing the tunnel's slick walls as he navigates by memory and instinct. The guards' shouts are at the vault now, their lanterns flooding the passage behind, and Lupin knows his time is short. He reaches a junction where the tunnel splits, one path leading to the Seine's edge, the other to a forgotten cellar beneath a wine shop. He chooses the cellar, its promise of shadows a better stage for the confrontation he knows is coming. Above, Paris breathes through the rain, its cobblestones slick under the gas lamps, their light fracturing into golden shards that dance with each drop. The city's pulse is a symphony. The clatter of carriages, the laughter of late-night revellers in Montmartre, the soft hum of a violin from a cafe's open door. The Seine glitters, its waters a mirror for the city's dreams and deceits, and the air carries the scent of roasted chestnuts, mingling with the damp musk of rain-soaked stone. Inspector Ganimard moves through this world, his coat heavy with water, his revolver drawn as he descends the tunnel from the service entrance. The open gate was a beacon, a crack in Lupin's careful facade, and now the guard's alarm confirms his hunch. The scent of mould and rusted iron fills his lungs, and his boots echo in the narrow passage, a counterpoint to the clamour above. Ganimard knows Lupin's flair, his love for the dramatic, but this feels different. A theft larger than jewels or gold, a game with stakes he cannot yet name. His notebook, damp in his pocket, holds years of notes on Lupin's habits, his haunts, his tricks, but nothing prepares him for the silence of the tunnel, broken only by the drip of water and the distant shouts. He feels the weight of the chase, a chance to catch the thief who has danced just out of reach for too long, and his steps quicken, the darkness pressing close as he nears the vault. In the cellar, Lupin emerges from the tunnel, the air warmer here, heavy with the scent of oak barrels and spilled wine, a faint sweetness that cuts through the earth's musk. The space is dim, lit by a single candle flickering on a crate, its light casting long shadows across the stone walls. Lupin sets the ledger on the crate, its leather cover gleaming faintly, and steps back, his hand on his cane, its hidden blade a silent promise. He knows Griffin is here. The air is too heavy, the silence too charged. "Show yourself, Griffin," he says, his voice a melody of charm and challenge. "Or take the ledger if you dare, but know this, Paris is mine, and you'll find no stage here." A sudden gust, like a door flung open, snuffs the candle, plunging the cellar into darkness. Lupin senses flare, his body tensing as a soft laugh echoes, Griffin's voice circling him like a predator. "Yours, Lupin. Paris belongs to no one, least of all a thief who trusts too easily. The ledger's mine now." Lupin feels a rush of air, a brush against his coat, and lunges, his cane sweeping the darkness. It connects with nothing, but a sharp pain grazes his arm. A blade, invisible and swift. He stumbles back, his hand pressing the wound, warm blood seeping through his sleeve, and his smile returns, a flicker of defiance. "A cheap trick, Griffin," he says, his voice steady despite the pain. "You'll need more than that to outwit me." The air shifts again, and Lupin moves, his steps silent, circling the crate where the ledger lies. He knows Griffin's game, to take the ledger in the chaos, to leave Lupin bleeding and caught. But Lupin has played such games before. His mind spins, recalling the cellar's layout, the trapdoor to the street above, the barrels that line the walls. He reaches into his pocket, pulling a small vial of phosphorescent powder, a thief's trick, meant for marking locks but now a weapon. He scatters it across the floor, its faint glow revealing a disturbance, a ripple where Griffin moves. Lupin lunges again, this time tackling the invisible form, feeling the solid weight of a man beneath him. They grapple, the ledger sliding off the crate, its pages fluttering like wings in the darkness. Griffin's breath is hot and ragged, his strength surprising, but Lupin's wit is sharper. He twists, pinning Griffin's arm and whispers, "You should have run, my friend." Paris doesn't forgive traitors. A shout from the tunnel, guards, or Ganimard, too close now, cuts through the struggle, and Griffin slips free, his laughter fading as he vanishes into the shadows. Lupin scrambles for the ledger, clutching it to his chest, and moves to the trapdoor, its wood rough under his fingers. He pushes it open, the rain's cool kiss meeting him as he emerges into an alley. The city's lights a golden blur through the storm. Ganimard bursts into the cellar moments later, his lantern flooding the space, revealing only the scattered powder and an empty crate. The trapdoor is ajar, and he curses, knowing Lupin has slipped away again. He climbs into the alley, the rain slicking his face, and scans the darkness, the scent of wet stone and wine lingering in the air. Lupin is gone, the ledger with him, but Ganimard feels the chase is not over, just paused, a game that will resume another night. Lupin moves through Paris, the ledger heavy in his coat, his arm throbbing but his smile unbroken. The city wraps around him, its rain a lullaby, its lights a promise of new games to come. The Seine glitters, whispering of trust and triumph, and Lupin vanishes into the shadows, a thief who has outwitted a ghost and a hound, at least for now. Can you feel it? The pulse of a city that never sleeps, its secrets safe in the hands of a man who dances with fate. The alley off the Rue de la Vrillière cradles Arsène Lupin in its shadowy embrace, the rain a soft curtain that blurs the golden glow of Paris's gas lamps. The cobblestones beneath his boots are slick, cool and uneven, each step a whisper against the city's restless hum. The air is heavy with the scent of wet stone, mingling with the faint, sweet aroma of blooming jasmine from a nearby courtyard, undercut by the acrid tang of coal smoke drifting from a chimney hidden in the haze. The Seine's murmur weaves through the night, its waters a dark ribbon reflecting the city's lights, whispering secrets of trust and triumph, as Lupin presses the ledger closer to his chest. The book's leather is cool through his coat, its weight a trophy and a challenge. A prize won through wit but threatened by the treachery of Hawley Griffin, the invisible man. The taste of the rain lingers on Lupin's lips, sharp and clean, tinged with the faint bitterness of blood from the graze on his arm, a mark of Griffin's betrayal in the cellar below. Lupin's breath catches in the cool air, his heart a steady rhythm beneath the thrill that courses through him. The ledger, a catalogue of Paris's elite, their debts and sins, is his now, a key to power and infamy. But Griffin's treachery lingers like a shadow cast by moonlight. The invisible man's attack, his alliance with the guards, and his escape into the night have left Lupin wary, knowing Griffin will not rest until the ledger is his. The city's pulse thrums around him, the clatter of a late-night carriage on the boulevard, the distant laughter of revellers spilling from a Montmartre café, the soft plink of rain on iron shutters. Lupin's arm aches, but his smile curves, a flicker of charm that masks the calculations spinning in his mind. He must reach his safe house in the Marais, a garret hidden above a bookseller's shop where he can secure the ledger and plan his next move. He slips through the alley, his coat brushing against the damp limestone walls, their texture rough and cold beneath his glove. The rain's rhythm is a lullaby, soothing yet urgent, urging him to move before Inspector Ganimard, the Sûreté's relentless hound, closes the gap. Ganimard's pursuit in the tunnel, his lantern flooding the cellar moments after Lupin's escape, was too close. a reminder that the game is far from over. Lupin knows Paris, its veins and shadows, better than any man, but Griffin's invisibility and Gannimar's tenacity are forces that test even his wit. The air shifts, carrying the faint scent of roasted chestnuts from a vendor's cart abandoned for the night, and Lupin pauses at the alley's mouth, his eyes scanning the street for movement, his senses sharp as a blade. The Rue Saint-Honoré stretches before him, its gas lamps casting pools of amber light that fracture on the wet pavement. A lone omnibus rumbles past, its horses snorting in the chill, their breath misting like spectres in the rain. Lupin steps into the street, his boots silent now, his movements fluid as he blends into the city's pulse. The ledger presses against his ribs, a secret that could remake Paris, but its weight is a beacon to those who hunt him. Griffin, he knows, will not act alone. His betrayal in the bank suggests a man desperate enough to rally allies, perhaps the thieves and cutthroats of the Cour des Miracles, Paris's underworld where loyalty is bought with gold or fear. Lupin's mind races, weaving contingencies for a trap he cannot yet see, his charm a shield against the doubt that flickers at his edges. A sound breaks the rain's rhythm, a soft scuff, like a boot on stone, from the shadows across the street. Lupin's hand tightens on his cane, its hidden blade a silent promise, and he slows, his smile unwavering as he speaks into the night. You're persistent, Griffin. Or have you sent lackeys to do your work now? Show yourself, and let's end this dance. No answer comes at first, but the air grows heavy, charged with presence. Then, a voice, not Griffin's but rough and low, laced with the accent of Paris's slums, cuts through the rain. Lupin, it growls, you've something that doesn't belong to you. Hand it over, or you'll bleed more than your arm. Lupin's heart quickens, but his smile widens, a melody of charm that could disarm a king. A thief accusing a thief. How quaint. Tell Griffin his hired dogs bark louder than they bite. The ledger stays with me. A figure steps from the shadows, a broad man in a tattered coat, his face scarred and weathered, a knife glinting in his hand. Behind him, two others emerge, their eyes gleaming with greed, their boots splashing in the puddles. The scent of cheap wine and sweat clings to them, a stark contrast to the jasmine that lingers in the air, and Lupin feels the weight of the trap. Griffin's doing no doubt a net cast by an invisible hand. The rain falls harder, drumming on the cobblestones, and the city's lights blur, a golden haze that masks the danger closing in. You're outnumbered, Lupin, the scarred man says, his knife catching the gaslight. Give us the book, and you walk. Refuse, and we carve you like a roast. Lupin's laughter is soft, a velvet ripple in the night, and he steps back, his cane twirling in his hand. Outnumbered? You mistake quantity for quality, my friend. Paris is my stage, and you're merely players in my scene. The scarred man lunges, his knife slashing through the rain, but Lupin is a shadow, sidestepping with a dancer's grace. His cane snaps up, its blade flashing as it grazes the man's arm, drawing a curse and a spray of blood. The others charge, their boots pounding, but Lupin moves like a phantom, his coat swirling as he ducks and weaves, the ledger secure against his chest. The alley behind him is a refuge, its darkness a cloak, and he retreats, his mind spinning new plans. Griffin's allies are crude, but their numbers are a threat, and the invisible man himself is still out there, a spectre waiting to strike. Above, Paris carries on, its pulse unbroken by the skirmish below. The Seine glitters, its waters a mirror for the city's dreams, and the air carries the faint mournful notes of an accordion from a distant café, curling like smoke through the rain. Inspector Ganimard emerges from the alley off the Rue de la Vrillière, his coat drenched, his revolver drawn as he scans the street. The guard's alarm, the empty cellar and the open trapdoor have left him with a certainty. Lupin has the prize, but he's still in reach. The scent of wet stone and spilled wine lingers in his lungs, and his notebook, damp in his pocket, holds notes on Lupin's habits. his flair, his escapes. Ganimard's eyes catch movement down the Rue Saint-Honoré. A scuffle, shadows moving in the rain, and his pulse quickens. He moves forward, his boots splashing, the city's hum guiding him toward the thief who dances just out of grasp. In the alley, Lupin dispatches the second thug with a swift strike to the knee, the man crumpling with a groan. The third hesitates, his knife trembling, and Lupin seizes the moment, his voice a velvet command. "Run, or you'll join your friends on the stones. Tell Griffin he'll need more than dogs to catch me." The thug flees, his boots splashing as he vanishes into the rain, and Lupin pauses, his breath misting in the chill. The ledger is safe, but the graze on his arm throbs, blood seeping through his sleeve, and he knows Griffin is close, his invisibility a blade at Lupin's back. The air shifts, a faint rustle like cloth brushing stone, and Lupin spins, his cane raised, but nothing meets his strike. Griffin's laughter, cold and sharp, echoes from nowhere, a taunt that sets Lupin's blood alight. "You're good, Lupin," the voice says, fading into the rain. "But Paris isn't yours yet." Lupin moves deeper into the alley, the walls narrowing, their damp surfaces brushing his coat. The scent of jasmine fades, replaced by the sour musk of refuse and wet earth, and the city's sounds grow distant, muffled by the rain's steady drum. He knows the Marès is near, his safe house a sanctuary where he can bind his wound and secure the ledger, but Griffin's allies and Ganimard's pursuit make every step a gamble. The ledger's weight is a promise, of power, of infamy, but also a chain, tying him to a game that grows more dangerous with each moment. Ganimard reaches the alley's mouth, his lantern catching the crumpled forms of Griffin's thugs, their groans a testament to Lupin's skill. He kneels, his fingers brushing the blood-slick cobblestones, and feels the weight of the chase. A thief, a prize, a city that hides them both. The rain slicks his face, the scent of wet iron and earth filling his lungs, and he rises, his eyes scanning the darkness. Lupin is close, he knows it, and the ledger, whatever it holds, is the key to catching him. He moves forward, his revolver steady, the city's pulse a guide in the night. Lupin reaches a courtyard, its iron gate rusted but unlocked, and slips inside. The air warmer here, heavy with the scent of damp roses and moss. The Marais looms ahead, its narrow streets a labyrinth he knows by heart, and he pauses, his hand pressing the ledger closer. The rain falls softly, a lullaby that soothes his racing heart, and he feels the city's embrace, its shadows a refuge for a thief who dances with fate. Can you hear it? The whisper of Paris, its secrets woven into the rain, guiding a man who plays a game larger than himself. The courtyard is silent, but Lupin knows Griffin is out there, his invisibility a shadow that follows, and Ganimard's lantern is a beacon drawing closer. The ledger is his triumph, but the game is not over, and Lupin moves forward, his smile unbroken, the city's pulse carrying him toward a reckoning that waits in the night. The courtyard in the Marais is a quiet haven, its cobblestones slick with rain, cradling Arsène Lupin as he pauses beneath a trellis heavy with damp roses. Their scent fills the air, a fragile sweetness that weaves through the sharper notes of wet moss and the faint, earthy musk of the city's ancient stones. The rain falls softly, a gentle patter that blurs the glow of a single gas lamp across the street, its light fracturing into golden shards on the puddles below. The Seine's whisper reaches him, a distant murmur through Paris's veins, carrying tales of trust and treachery as the ledger presses against his chest, its leather cool and heavy through his coat. The taste of the night lingers on Lupin's lips, rain, sharp and clean, mingled with the faint coppery tang of blood from the wound on his arm, a reminder of Hawley Griffin's betrayal and the skirmish with his thugs in the alley moments ago. The city's pulse thrums around him, the soft creak of a shutter in the wind, the distant clatter of a carriage on the Rue de Birague, the faint hum of a violin drifting from a hidden bistro, its notes curling like smoke into the night. Lupin's breath is steady, but his heart races, a rhythm driven by the thrill of the game and the weight of the ledger, a book of names, debts and sins that could reshape Paris's elite. Griffin's treachery, from alerting the guards to sending underworld lackeys, has left Lupin wary, knowing the invisible man is near, his invisibility a shadow that stalks him through the city. Inspector Ganimard, too, is close, his lantern a beacon in the rain, his pursuit relentless after finding the empty cellar and wounded thugs. Lupin's safe house, a garret above a bookseller's shop in the Marais, is just beyond the next street, a sanctuary where he can bind his wound and secure the ledger. But the night is alive with danger, and Lupin's wit, his greatest weapon, spins new plans to outmaneuver a ghost and a hound. He slips through the courtyard's gate, its iron cool and rusted under his glove, and steps into a narrow street. The walls of ancient limestone brushing his coat, their texture damp and gritty. The rain's lullaby soothes his nerves, but his senses are sharp, attuned to every sound, every shift in the air. The ledger's weight is a constant, a prize that could crown him or chain him, and Lupin's smile curves, a flicker of charm that masks the flicker of doubt beneath. Griffin's allies were crude, easily dispatched, but the invisible man himself is a different beast, a predator whose motives are as elusive as his form. Lupin knows he must draw Griffin out, force a confrontation on his own terms, before the ledger slips from his grasp. The street opens into a small plaza, its centre marked by a stone fountain, its water gurgling softly, mingling with the rain's rhythm. The air carries the scent of fresh-baked bread from a bakery shuttered for the night, a fleeting warmth that cuts through the chill. Lupin pauses, his boots silent on the cobblestones, and scans the shadows, his hand resting on his cane, its hidden blade a silent promise. The plaza is empty, but the air feels heavy, charged with presence, and Lupin speaks, his voice a velvet melody that carries through the rain. "Griffin, your games grow tiresome. Show yourself, or are you content to skulk while I hold the prize?" A ripple in the air, a faint disturbance like a breath stirring the rain, and Griffin's voice answers low and sharp as if scraped from the night's edges. "Prize? You're a fool, Lupin, clutching a book you can't keep. Paris isn't yours, it's mine, and I'll take what's owed." Lupin's smile tightens, his eyes scanning the plaza for a ripple, a shadow, anything to pin the invisible man's position. "Owed," he says, his tone light but laced with steel. "You betrayed me, Griffin. A ghost who stabs his partner in the back deserves nothing but scorn. Come, take the ledger if you can." A low chuckle, cold as the fountain's water, echoes through the plaza, and Lupin feels a prickle of unease. The rain falls harder, drumming on the cobblestones, and the city's lights blur, a golden haze that masks the danger closing in. Suddenly a gust of air brushes his coat, and Lupin spins, his cane slashing through the darkness, but it meets nothing. A sharp pain grazes his shoulder, another invisible blade, and he stumbles, blood seeping through his coat, warm and slick against the rain's chill. His smile returns, a defiant flicker, and he speaks, his voice steady despite the pain. "Cheap tricks, Griffin. You'll need more to outwit me." The air shifts again, and Lupin moves, his steps silent as he circles the fountain, the ledger pressed close. He knows Griffin's game, to wear him down, to strike from the shadows, but Lupin is a master of such games. His mind races, recalling the plaza's layout, the alleys that branch from it, the bookseller's shop just beyond. He reaches into his pocket, pulling a small mirror, a thief's tool for checking corners, now a weapon against an unseen foe. He angles it, catching the gas lamp's light, and sweeps it across the plaza, watching for a distortion, a ripple in the rain. A faint shimmer, like a heat wave, betrays Griffin's movement near the fountain, and Lupin lunges, his cane striking true this time, connecting with a solid form. A curse, sharp and human, breaks the silence, and Lupin grapples, feeling the weight of a man beneath him. The ledger slips, falling to the cobblestones, its pages fluttering in the rain, and Lupin's heart leaps, but he holds fast, pinning Griffin's arm. "You're no ghost," he says, his voice a velvet blade. "Just a man who chose the wrong partner." Griffin twists, his strength surprising, and slips free, his laughter fading as he vanishes into the shadows. Lupin scrambles for the ledger, its leather sodden but intact, and clutches it close, his shoulder throbbing, his breath ragged. The shouts of guards echo from the street beyond, their lanterns flickering as they approach, drawn by the noise or Ganimard's lead. Lupin moves to an alley, its walls narrow and damp, the scent of refuse and wet earth replacing the plaza's bread and roses. The bookseller's shop is close, it's a refuge, but the night is not done with him yet. Above, Paris breathes through the storm, its cobblestones a canvas of light and shadow, the Seine a glittering thread that binds the city's dreams. The air carries the faint mournful notes of a violin, mingling with the laughter of revellers in a distant cafe, their voices a fleeting warmth in the chill. Inspector Ganimard reaches the plaza, his revolver drawn, his lantern flooding the cobblestones with a light. The blood on the stones, the sodden ledger's imprint, and the guard's shouts confirm his hunch. Lupin is here, wounded but elusive, and the prize is still in play. The scent of wet moss and rain fills his lungs, and his notebook, damp in his pocket, holds notes on Lupin's flair, his escapes, his games. Ganimard's eyes catch movement in the alley, a shadow slipping through the rain, and he moves forward, his boots splashing, the city's pulse guiding him toward the thief who dances just out of reach. In the alley, Lupin reaches the bookseller's shop, its door hidden behind a stack of crates, the wood rough and splintered under his glove. He slips inside, the air warm and heavy with the scent of old paper and ink, a sanctuary that smells of home. The garret above is reached by a narrow stair, its steps creaking softly as he climbs, the ledger clutched tight. He pauses at the window, its glass streaked with rain, and looks out at Paris, its lights a golden haze through the storm. The city is his stage, its shadows his allies, but Griffin's treachery and Ganimard's pursuit are a curtain threatening to fall. Lupin binds his wounds with a strip of cloth, the pain sharp but bearable, and places the ledger in a hidden compartment beneath the floorboards, its leather gleaming faintly in the candlelight. He knows Griffin will come again, his invisibility a blade that never rests, and Ganimard's lantern is a beacon that will not fade. The rain's lullaby soothes his racing heart, and he feels the city's embrace, its secrets woven into every drop. Can you sense it? The pulse of a city that holds its breath, waiting for a thief to claim his triumph or fall to the shadows. The garret is silent, but Lupin knows the night is alive, Griffin's shadow lurking, Ganimard's steps drawing closer. The ledger is safe for now, but the game is not over, and Lupin's smile returns, a promise of new plans, new dances, in a city that never sleeps. The garret above the bookseller's shop in the Marais is a quiet sanctuary, its air thick with the scent of old paper and ink, a warm, musty embrace that wraps around Arsène Lupin as he stands by the rain-streaked window. The glass is cool against his fingers, the rain's soft patter a lullaby that blends with the distant murmur of the Seine, its waters a dark ribbon weaving through Paris's heart. The city's lights flicker through the storm, a golden haze that paints the night with dreams, but the scent of damp roses from the courtyard below lingers, mingling with the faint, sharp tang of blood from Lupin's bandaged arm and shoulder. The ledger, now hidden beneath the floorboards, presses against his thoughts, its leather-bound secrets a weight heavier than the wounds that throb beneath his cloth bindings. The taste of the night clings to his tongue, rain, sharp and clean, undercut by the gritty aftertaste of dust from the vault, a reminder of the heist that has brought him here, triumphant yet hunted. The sounds of Paris drift upward, the creak of a carriage wheel, the soft laughter of a couple passing below, the faint, mournful notes of an accordion curling through the rain. Lupin's breath is steady, but his mind races, a labyrinth of wit and strategy weaving plans to counter Hawley Griffin's relentless treachery. The Invisible Man's betrayal, alerting the guards, sending thugs, striking from the shadows, has left Lupin wounded but not beaten. The Ledger, a catalogue of Paris's elite and their sins, is his now, a key to power that could shift the city's balance. But Griffin's invisibility is a blade that cuts too close, and Inspector Ganimard's pursuit is a lantern burning ever nearer. The garret's candle flickers, casting long shadows across the slanted ceiling, its wax dripping like tears onto the wooden floor. Lupin knows he must act. Use the Ledger to secure his triumph, neutralize Griffin, and slip through Ganimard's net before the night claims him. He kneels by the floorboards, his fingers tracing the hidden compartment, its wood smooth and cool under his glove. The Ledger emerges, its leather gleaming faintly, and Lupin opens it, his eyes scanning the pages. Names, debts, secrets scrawled in elegant ink, each line a thread in Paris's tangled web. The power in these pages is intoxicating, a thrill that matches the heist itself. But Lupin's heart hesitates, a flicker of doubt beneath his charm. To use the Ledger is to wield a weapon that could destroy lives, a choice that tests even his moral flexibility. He closes the book, tucking it into his coat, and moves to a small desk, its surface cluttered with maps and notes, the tools of a thief who plans 3 steps ahead. The air shifts, a faint rustle like a page turning, and Lupin freezes, his hand on his cane, its hidden blade a silent promise. The garret is too small for Griffin to hide, but the Invisible Man's presence is a void, a silence that speaks of danger. Lupin speaks softly, his voice a velvet melody cutting through the stillness. Griffin, your persistence is almost admirable, but this is my stage, and you're no match for the script I've written. A low chuckle, cold and sharp, echoes from the corner where the shadows pull deepest. Script? Griffin's voice is a hiss, closer than Lupin expects. You're a fool, Lupin, thinking you can hold that book. Paris belongs to those who take, not those who play at charm. Lupin's smile curves, his eyes scanning the garret for a ripple, a distortion in the candlelight. Take, he says, his tone light but laced with steel. You've taken nothing but risks, Griffin. The Ledger is mine, and you're a ghost chasing shadows. The air moves, a sudden gust that snuffs the candle, plunging the garret into darkness. Lupin lunges, his cane sweeping the air, but it meets only emptiness. A sharp pain grazes his side, another invisible blade, and he stumbles, blood seeping through his shirt, warm and slick against the rain's chill. His smile holds, a defiant flicker, and he speaks, his voice steady despite the pain. You're predictable, Griffin. A ghost who strikes from shadows is no ghost at all. Just a man afraid to face the light. Lupin moves, his steps silent, circling the garret's small space. He knows Griffin's game, to wear him down, to seize the Ledger in the chaos, but Lupin is a master of chaos. His hand finds a vial of phosphorescent powder, the same trick he used in the plaza, and he scatters it across the floor, its faint glow revealing a shimmer near the window. Lupin lunges, tackling the invisible form, feeling the solid weight of a man beneath him. They grapple, the Ledger slipping from Lupin's coat, its pages fluttering as it hits the floor. Griffin's breath is hot and ragged, his strength fierce, but Lupin's wit is sharper. He twists, pinning Griffin's arm and whispers, "You chose the wrong stage, my friend. Paris is mine." A shout from the street below. Guards, or Ganimard, their lanterns flooding the Marais with light, cuts through the struggle. Lupin feels Griffin slip free, his laughter fading as he vanishes, but the Ledger is still there, its pages open on the floor. Lupin scrambles for it, clutching it to his chest, and moves to the window, its glass streaked with rain. He pushes it open, the cool air washing over him, carrying the scent of wet roses and city smoke. The street below is alive with movement. Guards spreading out, Ganimard's figure unmistakable, his lantern a beacon in the storm. Lupin's mind races, weaving a new plan. The Ledger's secrets are too dangerous to keep, but too valuable to destroy. He knows a contact in Montparnasse, a journalist named Claire, who could use the Ledger to expose the elite without tying it to Lupin's name. It's a move that sacrifices power for safety, a choice that stings his thrill-seeking heart but ensures his freedom. He slips down the garret's back stair, its steps narrow and creaking, and emerges into a side alley, the rain's rhythm soothing his wounds. The air is thick with the scent of wet earth and refuse, a stark contrast to the garret's ink and paper, and Lupin moves swiftly, his coat swirling as he navigates the Marais labyrinth. Above, Paris hums through the storm, its cobblestones a canvas of light and shadow, the Seine a glittering thread binding the city's dreams. The air carries the faint, sweet aroma of chestnuts from a vendor's cart, mingling with the damp musk of rain-soaked stone, and the sounds of the night, a carriage's clatter, a woman's laughter, a violin's mournful cry, curl through the rain. Inspector Ganimard stands in the plaza, his revolver drawn, his lantern casting long shadows as he directs the guards. The blood in the alley, the open garret window and the shouts confirm his hunch. Lupin is close, the Ledger in his grasp, but the thief is a shadow that slips through every net. Ganimard's lungs fill with the scent of rain and roses, his notebook heavy in his pocket, its pages a map of Lupin's games. He moves toward the alley, his boots splashing, the city's pulse guiding him toward the thief who dances just out of reach. In the Marais, Lupin reaches a narrow bridge over a canal, its water dark and sluggish, reflecting the gas lamp's amber glow. The rain falls softly, a curtain that hides him from prying eyes, and he pauses, the Ledger heavy in his coat. He knows Claire's studio is near, a cluttered attic where ink-stained presses churn out truth for those who dare to read it. The Ledger could be her weapon, a way to shift the game without blood on Lupin's hands, but Griffin's shadow lingers, his invisibility a threat that never rests, and Ganimard's lantern is a beacon drawing closer. Lupin's arm and side throb, but his smile returns, a promise of triumph in a city that loves him as much as it hunts him. He crosses the bridge, his boots silent on the wet stone, the air cool and sharp with the scent of canal water and moss. The Marais streets twist around him, their walls a labyrinth of shadows, and Lupin feels the city's embrace, its secrets woven into every drop of rain. Can you feel it? The pulse of a city that guards its thieves, its lights, a promise of games yet to come. Lupin moves forward, the Ledger a weight and a weapon, the night unfolding with the promise of a final reckoning. The narrow bridge over the Marais Canal holds Arsène Lupin in its quiet embrace, its wet stones cool and slick beneath his boots, the rain a gentle veil that softens the amber glow of Paris's gas lamps. The canal's dark waters ripple below, reflecting fragments of light like scattered jewels, their surface murmuring secrets that echo the Seine's distant song. The air is sharp with the scent of moss and stagnant water, undercut by a faint earthy warmth from the taverns lining the nearby streets, where coal fires burn low in the night. The Ledger, tucked inside Lupin's coat, presses against his ribs, its leather a heavy promise of power and peril, a prize won through wit, but threatened by Hawley Griffin's treachery and Inspector Ganimard's unyielding chase. The taste of rain lingers on Lupin's lips, clean and sharp, tinged with the faint, gritty aftertaste of blood from his wounds, marks of Griffin's invisible blades in the garret and plaza. The city's pulse weaves through the storm, a carriage's clatter on the Rue de Rivoli, the soft hum of voices from a bistro's open door, the mournful cry of a violin drifting like mist over the rooftops. Lupin's heart beats steady, but his mind is a whirlwind of strategy, spinning plans to deliver the Ledger to Claire, a journalist whose Montparnasse studio could wield its secrets to expose Paris's elite without tying Lupin to the crime. The Ledger's weight is a double-edged sword, a triumph that could crown him, a burden that draws hunters like moths to a flame. Griffin's betrayal from ambushing guards to striking unseen has left Lupin wounded but resolute, knowing the invisible man is near, his invisibility a shadow that stalks the rain. Ganimard's lantern, a beacon in the marais, grows closer, his pursuit fueled by years of notes and near misses. Lupin's safe house is behind him, but Claire's studio is ahead, a cluttered attic where truth is printed in ink and courage, a stage for his next move. He steps off the bridge, his coat brushing the iron railing, its surface cold and rusted under his glove. The Marais streets twist around him, their limestone walls damp and gritty, narrowing into alleys that smell of wet earth and spilled wine. The rain's rhythm is a soothing hum, but Lupin's senses are sharp, attuned to every shift in the air, every sound that breaks the night's lullaby. His arm and side throb, blood seeping through his bandages, but his smile curves, a flicker of charm that masks the tension beneath. Claire's studio is a risk. Her reputation for truth makes her a target for those who guard the ledger's secrets. But Lupin thrives on risk, his wit a blade honed by years of outsmarting foes. The street opens into a small square, its cobblestones glistening under a single gas lamp, its light fracturing into golden flecks on the puddles. A shuttered flower stall stands at the corner, its scent of wilted lilies lingering in the air, a fragile sweetness that cuts through the rain's musk. Lupin pauses, his boots silent, his hand resting on his cane, its hidden blade a quiet promise. The square is empty, but the air feels heavy, charged with presence, and Lupin's eyes scan the shadows, seeking a ripple, a disturbance in the rain. He knows Griffin is near, his treachery a blade that never rests, and Ganimard's guards are spreading through the marais, their shouts a distant drumbeat. A soft scuff, like cloth brushing stone, breaks the silence, and Lupin tenses, his smile unwavering as he speaks into the night. Griffin, your persistence is almost poetic, but poetry won't take the ledger. Show yourself, or are you content to chase my shadow? A low chuckle, cold and sharp, ripples through the air, closer than Lupin expects, as if Griffin is standing at his shoulder. Shadow? Griffin's voice is a hiss laced with mockery. You're the one fading, Lupin, bleeding through your charm. The ledger's mine, and I've allies you can't see. Lupin's heart quickens, but his smile widens, a melody of defiance. Allies? Your thugs were crude, Griffin, and your blades predictable. The ledger stays with me, and Paris is my stage. The air shifts, a sudden gust that stirs the rain, and Lupin spins, his cane slashing through the darkness. But it meets nothing. A sharp pain grazes his cheek, another invisible strike, and he stumbles, blood warm against the rain's chill. His smile holds, a flicker of wit in the storm, and he reaches into his pocket, pulling a small vial of phosphorescent powder, its glow a thief's trick honed in earlier battles. He scatters it across the cobblestones, its faint shimmer revealing a distortion near the flower stall. A ripple in the rain. Lupin lunges, tackling the invisible form, feeling the solid weight of a man beneath him. They grapple, the ledger slipping but caught in Lupin's grip, its leather sodden but intact. Griffin's breath is ragged, his strength fierce, but Lupin's wit is sharper. He twists, pinning Griffin's arm, and whispers, "You're no ghost, Griffin. Just a man who chose the wrong dance." A sudden shout from the street beyond, guards, their lanterns flooding the square, cuts through the struggle. Lupin feels Griffin slip free, his laughter fading as he vanishes, but the ledger is secure, pressed against Lupin's chest. He scrambles to his feet, his wounds throbbing, and moves to an alley, its walls narrow and damp, the scent of refuse and wet stone replacing the square's lilies. Claire's studio is close, its attic a beacon in the night, but the twist Griffin promised lingers in Lupin's mind. Allies he can't see, a trap yet to spring. Above, Paris breathes through the storm, its cobblestones a canvas of light and shadow, the Seine a glittering thread that binds the city's dreams. The air carries the faint warm aroma of roasted chestnuts from a distant vendor, mingling with the damp musk of rain-soaked stone and the sounds of the night. A carriage's clatter, a woman's soft song, a violin's mournful cry, curl through the rain. Inspector Ganimard reaches the square, his revolver drawn, his lantern casting long shadows as he spots the blood on the cobblestones, the scattered powder glowing faintly. The guard's shouts confirm his hunch. Lupin is close, the ledger in his grasp, but the thief is a phantom that slips through every trap. Ganimard's lungs fill with the scent of rain and lilies, his notebook heavy in his pocket, its pages a map of Lupin's games. He moves toward the alley, his boots splashing, the city's pulse guiding him toward the thief who dances just out of reach. In the alley, Lupin reaches a weathered door, its wood splintered and damp, the entrance to Claire's building. He slips inside, the air warm and heavy with the scent of ink and paraffin, a sharp contrast to the rain's chill. The stair to the attic creaks under his boots, its steps narrow and worn, and Lupin climbs, the ledger clutched tight. Claire's studio is a cluttered haven, its presses silent in the night, papers strewn across tables, the scent of fresh ink, a promise of truth. Claire, a slight woman with ink-stained fingers, looks up from her desk, her eyes sharp but wary as Lupin enters. "Arsène," she says, her voice low. "You bring trouble like a storm. What's this prize you've promised?" Lupin's smile is a flicker of charm, though his wounds throb, blood seeping through his bandages. "Trouble, Claire, but also truth," he says, placing the ledger on her desk, its leather gleaming in the lamplight. "This book holds Paris's secrets, names, debts, sins. Use it, expose them, but keep my name out of it." Claire's eyes widen, her fingers tracing the ledger's cover, but a sudden crash from the stair below cuts through the silence. Lupin spins, his cane raised as the door bursts open, revealing not guards, but a figure cloaked in shadow, his face hidden by a scarf. The air grows heavy, charged with menace, and Lupin's heart leaps. Griffin's twist, an ally he hadn't foreseen, perhaps a mastermind from the Cour des Miracles, Paris's underworld. "You've gone too far, Lupin," the figure says, his voice a growl, a knife glinting in his hand. "The ledger belongs to those who rule the shadows, not a thief who plays at games." Lupin's smile returns, a blade of wit in the storm. "Rule? Paris bows to no one, least of all a lackey in a scarf. The ledger's hers now, and you'll find no prize here." The figure lunges, his knife slashing through the air, but Lupin is a shadow, sidestepping with a dancer's grace. Claire ducks behind her press, her eyes wide, as Lupin grapples with the stranger, the ledger safe on the desk. The fight is swift, Lupin's cane striking true, and the figure crumples, his scarf falling to reveal a face Lupin doesn't know. A hired blade, not Griffin, but proof of the invisible man's reach. The shouts of guards echo from the street, Ganimard's lantern drawing closer, and Lupin knows his time is short. He turns to Claire, his voice urgent but calm. "Publish it, Claire. Let Paris see its truth. I'll draw them away." She nods, clutching the ledger, and Lupin slips to the window, its glass streaked with rain. He climbs to the roof, the tiles slick and cold under his boots, the air sharp with the scent of chimney smoke and wet slate. The city stretches before him, its lights a golden promise, the Seine whispering of triumph and treachery. Lupin moves, a shadow among shadows, his wounds afire but his smile unbroken, the game unfolding in a city that loves him as much as it hunts him. The rooftops of the Marais stretch before Arsène Lupin like a sea of slate and shadow, their tiles slick with rain, glinting faintly under the amber glow of Paris's gas lamps. The air is sharp with the scent of wet slate and chimney smoke, a bitter tang that mingles with the faint, lingering sweetness of roses from the courtyard below, now a distant memory. The rain falls in a gentle rhythm, a soft patter that blends with the Seine's murmur. its waters a dark thread weaving through the city's heart, whispering tales of triumph and treachery. Lupin's boots grip the tiles, their texture rough and cold beneath his soles, but his wounds arm, shoulder, side and cheek throb with every step, blood seeping through his bandages warm and slick against the rain's chill. The taste of the storm clings to his lips, clean and sharp, undercut by the faint coppery bite of blood, a reminder of Hawley Griffin's invisible blades and the fight in Claire's studio. The city's pulse hums around him, the creak of a distant shutter, the soft laughter of revellers in a Montparnasse bistro, the mournful wail of a violin curling through the night like a lover's sigh. Lupin's heart beats fast, but his mind is a labyrinth of wit, weaving plans to evade the guards flooding the Marais and outmaneuver Griffin's final gambit. The ledger, now in Claire's hands, is a weapon poised to expose Paris's elite, a move that ensures Lupin's freedom but sacrifices the power he craved. Griffin's treachery, alerting guards, sending thugs, and rallying an underworld ally, has left Lupin wounded but resolute, knowing the Invisible Man will strike again, his invisibility a shadow that hunts the night. Inspector Ganimard's lantern, a beacon in the streets below, draws closer, his pursuit fueled by years of near misses and a notebook filled with Lupin's tricks. Lupin's goal is clear: slip through Paris's rooftops to a safe haven in Montparnasse, a derelict theatre where he can vanish into the city's underbelly until Claire's exposé shifts the game. He moves across the tiles, his coat swirling, the rain's cool kiss soothing his wounds but not his nerves. The slate is treacherous, slick and uneven, and Lupin's boots slide, forcing him to grip a chimney, its brick rough and damp under his glove. The air carries the scent of coal ash and wet wood, a stark contrast to the Marais' roses, and Lupin pauses, his eyes scanning the rooftops for movement. A ripple, a distortion, anything to betray Griffin's presence. The city below is alive with pursuit. Guards' shouts echo from the streets, their lanterns casting jagged shadows, and Lupin knows Ganimard is among them, his relentless hound's nose sniffing out the thief's trail. A faint scuff, like cloth brushing slate, breaks the rain's rhythm, and Lupin tenses, his hand tightening on his cane, its hidden blade a silent promise. "Griffin," he murmurs, his voice a velvet thread in the storm, "your persistence is almost a compliment, but Paris is my stage, and you're no match for its star." A low chuckle, cold and sharp, ripples through the air, closer than Lupin expects, as if Griffin is perched on the next rooftop. "Star?" Griffin's voice is a hiss, laced with venom. "You're a fading light, Lupin, bleeding and running. The ledger's gone, but I'll take your pride before the night's done." Lupin's smile curves, a flicker of charm in the darkness, and he moves, his steps silent despite the pain. "Pride?" he says, his tone light but edged with steel. "You mistake me for a man who clings to vanity. The ledger's with Claire, and Paris will sing her truth, not yours." The air shifts, a sudden gust that stirs the rain, and Lupin spins, his cane slashing through the darkness, but it meets only air. A sharp pain grazes his leg, another invisible strike, and he stumbles, blood seeping through his trouser, warm against the slate's chill. His smile holds, a defiant melody, and he reaches into his pocket, pulling a handful of phosphorescent powder, its glow a thief's trick honed in battles past. He scatters it across the tiles, its faint shimmer revealing a distortion near a chimney, a ripple in the rain like a ghost caught in moonlight. Lupin lunges, tackling the invisible form, feeling the solid weight of a man beneath him. They grapple, the slate slick under their struggle, the rain a curtain that masks their fight. Griffin's breath is ragged, his strength fierce, but Lupin's wit is a blade that cuts deeper. He pins Griffin's arm, his cane pressed against an unseen throat, and whispers, "You're no ghost, Griffin. Just a man who forgot the rules of the game." A sudden shout from the street below. Guards, their lanterns flooding the alley, cuts through the struggle. Lupin feels Griffin slip free, his laughter fading as he vanishes across the rooftops, but the powder's glow lingers, a trail that betrays his path. Lupin rises, his leg throbbing, and moves, his boots gripping the tiles as he leaps to the next roof, the city's pulse guiding him. The theatre in Montparnasse is close, its derelict stage a refuge, but Griffin's trail is a temptation, a chance to end the invisible man's threat once and for all. Below, Paris breathes through the storm, its cobblestones a canvas of light and shadow, the Seine a glittering thread that binds the city's dreams. The air carries the faint, warm aroma of bread from a bakery waking for the dawn, mingling with the damp musk of rain-soaked stone and the sounds of the night. A carriage's clatter, a woman's soft song, a violin's mournful cry, curl through the rain. Inspector Ganimard stands in the alley, his revolver drawn, his lantern casting long shadows as he spots the blood on the cobblestones, the faint glow of powder scattered by the storm. The guard's shouts confirm his hunch. Lupin is above, wounded but elusive, and the prize is still in play. Ganimard's lungs fill with the scent of rain and coal ash, his notebook heavy in his pocket, its pages a map of Lupin's escapes. He climbs a fire escape, its iron rusted and slick, the city's pulse guiding him toward the thief who dances just out of reach. On the rooftops, Lupin follows the powder's glow, his wounds afire but his smile unbroken. The trail leads to a crumbling chimney, its brick warm from a fire below, and Lupin pauses, his senses sharp. The air is thick with the scent of soot and wet slate, and the rain's rhythm soothes his racing heart. He knows Griffin is close, his invisibility a blade that never rests, but Lupin's wit is a shield, honed by years of outsmarting foes. He scatters more powder, its glow revealing a fresh ripple, and moves, his cane ready, his steps silent despite the pain. The theatre looms ahead, its roof a patchwork of tiles and tar, its air heavy with the scent of mould and old velvet. Lupin slips through a broken skylight, landing in the rafters, the wood creaking under his boots. The theatre is dark, its stage a shadow of forgotten plays, the air thick with dust and the faint sweet tang of grease paint. Lupin pauses, his eyes adjusting to the gloom, and spots the powder's glow on the catwalk, a trail leading to Griffin. He moves, his steps silent, the ledger's absence a weight lifted, but the game's stakes higher than ever. Griffin's voice echoes from the darkness, a cold laugh that chills the air. You're persistent, Lupin, but you've lost. The ledger's gone, and your time's running out. Lupin's smile returns, a melody of defiance. Lost? The ledger's with Claire, and Paris will know its truth. You're the one running Griffin, a ghost with no stage. A sudden rush of air and Lupin ducks, Griffin's blade missing by inches. He swings his cane, striking true, and hears a grunt. The powder's glow betraying Griffin's fall to the stage below. Lupin leaps after him, landing in a pool of dust, the air thick with the scent of old wood and canvas. They grapple, Griffin's invisibility a fleeting advantage, but Lupin's wit prevails, pinning him to the stage. The game's over, Lupin whispers, his cane at Griffin's throat. Paris is mine. The theatre's door bursts open, Ganimard's lantern flooding the stage, guards at his heels. Lupin releases Griffin, who vanishes into the shadows and slips into the wings, the dust choking his lungs. He climbs to the roof, the rain's cool kiss meeting him, the city's lights a golden promise. The theatre is behind him, Griffin's threat diminished, but Ganimard's pursuit is a fire that never fades. Lupin moves, a shadow among shadows, the Seine whispering of triumph and treachery, the city embracing a thief who dances with fate. The rain-slick rooftops of Montparnasse fade behind Arsène Lupin as he descends into a shadowed alley, the city's underbelly opening its arms like an old friend. The cobblestones beneath his boots are uneven, cool and slick, each step a whisper against the steady patter of the rain, a soft lullaby that cloaks Paris in a gentle haze. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and rotting wood, undercut by the faint, sour tang of spilled wine from a nearby tavern, its door ajar, spilling slivers of golden light into the night. The Seine's murmur weaves through the city's veins, a distant song of secrets and survival, its waters reflecting the gas lamp's amber glow like scattered stars. Lupin's wounds, arm, shoulder, side, leg, and cheek, pulse with pain, blood seeping through his bandages, warm and sticky against the rain's chill. The taste of the storm lingers on his lips, sharp and clean, mingled with the faint metallic bite of blood, a reminder of Hawley Griffin's treachery and the theatre's dust-choked fight. The city's pulse thrums around him, the creak of a cart's wheel, the low murmur of voices from a gambling den, the soft, haunting notes of a clarinet drifting from a hidden courtyard curling like smoke into the rain. Lupin's breath is ragged but steady, his mind a tapestry of wit and calculation, weaving plans to vanish into Paris's shadows until Claire's exposé, fueled by the Ledger's secrets, reshapes the city's power. The Ledger, now in Claire's ink-stained hands, is a victory that frees him from its weight but costs him the thrill of its power, a choice that tests his morally flexible heart. Griffin's betrayal, from guards to thugs to invisible blades, has left Lupin battered but unbroken, though the Invisible Man's escape from the theatre stage lingers like a storm cloud, promising one last attempt to reclaim influence. Inspector Ganimard's lantern, a beacon in the streets above, draws ever closer, his pursuit a relentless tide driven by years of notes and near misses. Lupin's destination is a hidden refuge in the Latin Quarter, a cellar beneath a cafe where artists and outcasts trade secrets, a place to bind his wounds and wait for Paris to shift. He slips through the alley, his coat brushing the damp brick walls, their texture rough and cold beneath his glove. The rain's rhythm soothes his nerves, but his senses are sharp, attuned to every sound, every shift in the air. His wounds slow him, pain flaring with each step, but his smile curves, a flicker of charm that masks the weight of his choices. The Ledger's secrets could have crowned him king of Paris's Sunderworld, but passing it to Claire was a move for survival, a rare moment of restraint in a life driven by thrill. Griffin, he knows, will not rest. His invisibility is a weapon that hunts without pause, and his underworld allies, like the scarred stranger in Claire's studio, hint at a network Lupin has yet to unravel. The alley opens into a narrow street, its cobblestones glistening under a flickering gas lamp, its light casting long shadows that dance with the rain. The air carries the scent of fresh paint from a nearby atelier, a sharp, clean note that cuts through the alley's musk. Lupin pauses, his boots silent, his hand resting on his cane, its hidden blade a quiet promise. The street is empty, but the air feels charged, heavy with presence, and Lupin's eyes scan the shadows, seeking a ripple, a distortion in the rain. He knows Griffin is out there, his treachery a fire that never dies, and Ganimard's guards are spreading through Montparnasse, their shouts a distant echo in the storm. A soft rustle, like cloth-brushing stone, breaks the silence, and Lupin tenses, his smile unwavering as he speaks into the night. Griffin, your encore is overdue, or have you sent another lackey to play your part? Show yourself, and let's end this performance. A low chuckle, cold and sharp, ripples through the air, closer than Lupin expects, as if Griffin is standing just beyond the lamp's glow. Performance? Griffin's voice is a hiss, laced with scorn. You're the one playing, Lupin, bleeding and running from a stage you can't hold. The Ledger's gone, but I'll take your life before Paris forgets me. Lupin's heart quickens, but his smile widens, a melody of defiance. Forget you? Paris doesn't know you, Griffin. You're a shadow chasing a thief who owns the light. The Ledger's with Claire, and its truth will burn brighter than your schemes. The air shifts, a sudden gust that stirs the rain, and Lupin spins, his cane slashing through the darkness, but it meets only air. A sharp pain grazes his arm, another invisible strike, and he stumbles, blood seeping through his sleeve, warm against the rain's chill. His smile holds, a flicker of wit in the storm, and he reaches into his pocket, pulling a small mirror, its glass a thief's tool for catching shadows. He angles it, catching the gas lamp's light, and sweeps it across the street, watching for a distortion, a ripple in the rain. A faint shimmer, like a mirage, betrays Griffin's movement near a shuttered shop, and Lupin lunges, tackling the invisible form, feeling the solid weight of a man beneath him. They grapple, the cobblestones slick under their struggle, the rain a curtain that masks their fight. Griffin's breath is ragged, his strength fierce, but Lupin's wit is a blade that cuts deeper. He pins Griffin's arm, his cane pressed against an unseen throat, and whispers, "You're no ghost, Griffin. Just a man who lost his script." A sudden shout from the alley beyond. Guards, their lanterns flooding the street, cuts through the struggle. Lupin feels Griffin slip free, his laughter fading as he vanishes, but the mirror's reflection lingers, a trail of ripples in the rain. Lupin rises, his arm throbbing, and moves, his boots splashing as he slips into a side street, the Latin Quarter's labyrinth opening before him. The cafe's cellar is close, its promise of refuge a beacon, but Griffin's escape is a spark that could ignite a new trap. Above, Paris hums through the storm, its cobblestones a canvas of light and shadow. The Seine, a glittering thread that binds the city's dreams. The air carries the faint, warm aroma of coffee from a cafe, waking for the dawn, mingling with the damp musk of rain-soaked stone and the sounds of the night. A carriage's clatter, a poet's drunken song, a clarinet's haunting cry, curl through the rain. Inspector Ganimard reaches the street, his revolver drawn, his lantern casting long shadows as he spots the blood on the cobblestones, the faint shimmer of rain disturbed by an unseen flight. The guard's shouts confirm his hunch. Lupin is close, wounded but elusive, and the prize is still in play. Ganimard's lungs fill with the scent of rain and paint, his notebook heavy in his pocket, pages a map of Lupin's escapes. He moves toward the side street, his boots clicking, the city's pulse guiding him toward the thief who dances just out of reach. In the Latin Quarter, Lupin reaches the cafe, its door a weathered slab hidden behind a stack of chairs, the wood warm and splintered under his glove. He slips inside, the air thick with the scent of tobacco and stale wine, a warm contrast to the rain's chill. The cellar is a maze of shadows, its barrels and crates a hideout for secrets and outcasts, lit by a single flickering lamp that casts a golden glow on the stone walls. Lupin sinks onto a crate, his wounds a fire that burns with every breath and binds his arm, the pain sharp against the cool air. The ledger is with Claire, its secrets poised to strike, but Griffin's laughter echoes in his mind, a promise of chaos yet to come. The cellar's door creaks, and Lupin tenses, his cane raised, but it's only a familiar face, Lucian, a poet with ink-stained fingers, his eyes sharp with news. "Lupin," he murmurs. "The streets are crawling. Ganimard's close, and whispers speak of a ghost who haunts you. A man who's not seen but felt." Lupin's smile returns, a weary but defiant flicker. "A ghost? He's just a man, Lucian, and Paris is mine." "Tell Claire to move fast. The ledger's truth must outshine the shadows." Lucian nods, slipping back into the night, and Lupin leans back, the crate's rough wood cool against his coat. The city's pulse soothes him, the rain's lullaby a promise of survival, and he feels the weight of his choices, a thief who gave up power for freedom, yet still craves the thrill of the game. Can you hear it? The whisper of a city that guards its shadows, its secrets a song for those who dare to dance. Lupin's eyes close, his wounds steady, the night unfolding with the promise of a dawn that will change Paris forever. The cellar beneath the Latin Quarter Café cradles Arsène Lupin in its shadowed embrace, the air thick with the scent of tobacco and stale wine, a warm musty weight that clings to his damp coat. The stone walls, cool and rough beneath his fingers, pulse with the faint hum of Paris above, its cobblestones slick with rain. The Seine's murmur, a distant lullaby weaving through the city's veins. The flickering lamp casts a golden glow, dancing across the barrels and crates that fill the space, their wood splintered and heavy with the tang of old oak. Lupin's wounds, arm, shoulder, side, leg, and cheek, throb with each breath, blood seeping through his bandages, a warm, sticky reminder of Hawley Griffin's invisible blades and the street's rain-soaked struggle. The taste of the night lingers on his lips, sharp with rain and bitter with blood, undercut by the faint smoky aftertaste of the cellar's air. The city's pulse hums through the walls, the soft clatter of glasses from the cafe above, the low laughter of poets trading verses, the haunting wail of a clarinet curling through the storm like a ghost's lament. Lupin's heart beats steady, but his mind is a storm of wit and strategy, spinning plans to weather the chaos Claire's exposé will unleash. The ledger, now in her hands, holds secrets that could topple Paris's elite, a move that ensures Lupin's survival but sacrifices the power he once craved, a choice that weighs heavy on his morally flexible soul. Griffin's treachery, from guards to thugs to unseen strikes, has left Lupin battered but resolute, though the Invisible Man's escape from the theatre and Lucian's warning of a ghost hint at a final, desperate gambit. Inspector Ganimard's lantern, a beacon in the Latin Quarter's streets, draws ever closer, his pursuit a tide driven by years of notes and the blood-stained cobblestones Lupin leaves behind. Lupin's refuge is temporary. He must move to a new hideout, a derelict warehouse by the Seine, where he can wait for the city to shift under Claire's truth. He rises from the crate, its wood creaking under his weight, and adjusts his coat, the pain flaring but his smile curving, a flicker of charm that masks the reckoning within. The ledger's loss stings, a throne he could have claimed, but survival is a sweeter thrill, and Lupin's wit is a blade honed by years of dancing with fate. Griffin, he knows, will strike again, his invisibility a weapon that hunts without pause, his underworld allies a net tightening around the city. Lucian's word echo a whisper of a ghost who's felt but not seen, and Lupin's senses sharpen. Attuned to the cellar's shadows, the air's subtle shifts. The cellar's door creaks, and Lupin tenses, his hand tightening on his cane, its hidden blade a silent promise. But it's only the cafe's owner, a grizzled man named Marcel, his eyes sharp with news. Lupin, he murmurs, the streets are alive. Papers are out, Claire's printed something big. The elite are raging, and Ganimard's men are everywhere. There's talk of a shadow, a man who moves unseen. Lupin's smile widens, a melody of defiance. A shadow? Let him come, Marcel. Claire's truth will light the city, and I'll slip through its flames. Marcel nods, slipping back upstairs, and Lupin moves to the cellar's back exit, a trap door leading to a tunnel by the Seine. The wood is damp and splintered under his glove, the air sharp with the scent of river mud and rusted iron as he descends. The tunnel is narrow, its walls slick with moisture, the faint drip of water a counterpoint to the rain's rhythm above. Lupin's boots echo softly, his wounds a fire that slows his steps, but his mind races, weaving plans to reach the warehouse and evade the chaos Claire's exposé will spark. The tunnel opens into a riverside alley, the Seine's dark waters glittering under the gas lamps, their light fracturing into golden shards on the ripples. The air is cool and heavy with the scent of fish and wet rope, a stark contrast to the cellar's tobacco and wine. Lupin pauses, his coat brushing the alley's brick walls, their texture rough and cold, and scans the shadows, his senses sharp. The city is stirring. Shouts echo from the boulevards, the clatter of carriages grows urgent, and the faint, angry murmur of crowds suggests Claire's exposé has hit its mark. Lupin's smile curves, a flicker of pride in the chaos he's unleashed, but the weight of Griffin's threat and Ganimard's pursuit tempers his thrill. A soft scuff, like cloth brushing stone, breaks the silence, and Lupin tenses, his cane raised as he speaks into the night. "Griffin, your curtain call is late. Or have you brought another shadow to play your part? Show yourself, and let's end this dance." A low chuckle, cold and sharp, ripples through the air, closer than Lupin expects, as if Griffin is standing by the river's edge. "Dance?" Griffin's voice is a hiss laced with desperation. "You've burned the stage, Lupin, with that woman's ink, but I'll take you down before Paris forgets me." Lupin's heart quickens, but his smile holds, a melody of wit. "Forget you? Paris never knew you, Griffin. You're a ghost chasing a thief who owns the night. Claire's truth is out and your schemes are dust." The air shifts, a sudden gust that stirs the rain, and Lupin spins, his cane slashing through the darkness, but it meets only air. A sharp pain grazes his back, another invisible strike, and he stumbles, blood seeping through his coat, warm against the river's chill. His smile persists, a defiant flicker, and he reaches into his pocket, pulling a small vial of phosphorescent powder, its glow a thief's trick honed in battles past. He scatters it across the cobblestones, its faint shimmer revealing a distortion near a stack of crates, a ripple in the rain like a spectre caught in starlight. Lupin lunges, tackling the invisible form, feeling the solid weight of a man beneath him. They grapple, the cobblestones slick under their struggle, the Sens murmur a backdrop to their fight. Griffin's breath is ragged, his strength waning, but his desperation is a fire that burns bright. Lupin pins his arm, his cane pressed against an unseen throat, and whispers, "You've lost, Griffin. Paris is mine, and your ghost is fading." A sudden shout from the street above guards, their lanterns flooding the alley cuts through the struggle. Lupin feels Griffin slip free, his laughter fading as he vanishes, but the powder's glow lingers, a trail that betrays his flight toward the river. Lupin rises, his back throbbing, and moves, his boots splashing as he slips into a side alley, the warehouse's silhouette looming ahead. The Seine's pulse soothes him, but Griffin's escape is a spark that could ignite a final trap, and the city's chaos, Claire's exposé stirring the elite ad's weight to every step. Above, Paris roars through the storm, its cobblestones a canvas of light and shadow, the Seine a glittering thread that binds the city's dreams and rage. The air carries the faint, sharp aroma of ink from newsstands, mingling with the damp musk of rain-soaked stone, and the sounds of the night carriages clatter, crowds' angry shouts, a clarinet's haunting cry curl through the rain. Inspector Ganimard reaches the riverside alley, his revolver drawn, his lantern casting long shadows as he spots the blood on the cobblestones, the faint glow of powder scattered by the storm. The guards' shouts and the city's unrest confirm his hunch. Lupin is close, wounded but elusive, and the chaos Claire's exposé has sparked is his shield. Ganimard's lungs fill with the scent of river mud and rain, his notebook heavy in his pocket, its pages a map of Lupin's games. He moves toward the side alley, his boots clicking, the city's pulse guiding him toward the thief who dances just out of reach. In the alley, Lupin reaches the warehouse, its door a rusted slab hidden behind a stack of barrels, the iron cold and rough under his glove. He slips inside, the air thick with the scent of mildew and old canvas, a dark contrast to the river's freshness. The warehouse is a cavern of shadows, its crates and ropes a maze lit by slivers of moonlight through cracked windows. Lupin sinks onto a crate, his wounds a fire that burns with every breath and binds his back, the pain sharp against the cool air. The ledger's truth is out, Claire's press is rolling, but Griffin's laughter echoes in his mind, a promise of chaos yet to come, and Ganimard's lantern is a beacon that never fades. The warehouse's door creaks, and Lupin tenses, his cane raised, but it's only a silhouette, a woman, her cloak dripping with rain. "Lupin," she murmurs, her voice low. "Claire sent me. The city's burning with her truth, but the elite are hunting, and a ghost stalks the shadows." Lupin's smile returns, a weary but defiant flicker. A ghost? He's just a man, and Paris is mine. Tell Claire to keep the flame high. The night's not done. The woman nods, slipping back into the storm, and Lupin leans back, the crate's rough wood cool against his coat. The city's pulse soothes him, the rain's lullaby a promise of survival, but the warehouse's shadows deepen, a chill creeping through the air. A faint shimmer, like starlight on water, catches his eye near a stack of crates, the phosphorescent powder still clinging to Griffin's unseen form. Lupin's heart quickens, but his smile holds a blade of wit. He rises, cane in hand, and speaks softly. "Griffin, your encore's too predictable. Let's finish this." The air shifts, a rush of movement, and Lupin ducks, his cane slashing upward, meeting resistance. A muffled grunt as the blade finds flesh. Griffin stumbles, his invisibility betrayed by the powder's glow and a trail of blood on the floor, dark against the moonlight. Lupin presses forward, his wounds screaming but his resolve unbreakable. "You double-crossed the wrong thief," he murmurs, pinning Griffin against a crate, the cane's blade at his throat. Paris forgets ghosts, but Lupin's name endures. Griffin's laugh is weak, a dying ember. "You think you've won? The elite will hunt you, Lupin, and Ganimard closer than you know." His form slumps, the powder's glow fading as his strength ebbs, the fight draining from him. Lupin steps back, his breath ragged, and watches the shimmer dissolve into the shadows, Griffin's threat silenced at last. Outside, Ganimard's lantern flickers closer, the guard's boots echoing in the alley. Lupin moves swiftly, slipping through a hidden panel in the warehouse wall, a thief's secret carved into Paris's bones. The passage is narrow, smelling of damp earth and iron, leading to a boat tethered by the Seine. He climbs aboard, the river's current cold and swift beneath him, and casts off, the city's lights fracturing on the water like scattered stars. Claire's exposé burns through Paris, the elite's rage a fire that lights his path. But Lupin's smile curves, a melody of triumph. Griffin's double cross lies broken, Ganimard's pursuit a step behind, and the Seine carries him toward a new dawn. As the boat drifts, Lupin binds his wounds, the pain a dull ache beneath his resolve. The clarinet's wail fades, replaced by the river's whisper, and Paris's pulse hums in his veins. He is Arsène Lupin, thief, legend, shadow, who dances through chaos and emerges unbroken. The city's truth, sparked by his hand, will reshape its heart, and though the elite hunt and Ganimard dreams of chains, Lupin's legacy is a flame that never fades. The Seine cradles him, its waters a mirror of his wit, and as dawn's first light touches the horizon, he vanishes into the mist, a thief crowned by the night. That's our tale tonight. Are you listening from Tokyo's midnight calm, Paris in soft rain, or Toronto beneath northern stars? Share your city, your thoughts, like this story if it stirred something quiet within. Subscribe. Only if these timeless whispers feel like home. Until we meet again, keep dreaming, keep listening, and rest well wherever you are.